The House on Blackwood Road, Chapter 4, Beneath the Floorboards. The footsteps above them were measured and heavy, too slow for a child, too deliberate for a creaking old house. The sound moved from one end of the attic to the other, stopping directly above where Daniel and Emma stood frozen in the kitchen. Milo whimpered, tail tucked, backing himself into the corner behind the kitchen island. Emma clutched Daniel's arms so tightly her nails bit into his skin. Daniel whispered, "We're going up." Emma stared at him like he'd lost his mind. "Are you insane? We need to get out of here." "I've tried every door. Something's keeping us inside. If we don't figure out what this thing is, we're stuck." The sound above shifted again, wood splintering softly under invisible weight. A soft, childish giggle drifted down through the ceiling vent. Emma felt it in her spine like ice water. Daniel grabbed the flashlight and the kitchen knife. "Stay close." They moved together through the living room, past the basement door that still hung open an inch. As they passed, Emma could have sworn she saw movement in the blackness below, like something shifting just out of the flashlight's reach. She forced herself to keep walking. The staircase groaned as they climbed. The air grew colder with each step, as though they were climbing into a winter night. When they reached the landing, the hallway stretched out before them, long and black, doors gaping open like mouths. The attic door at the end of the hall was open now. It hadn't been earlier. A faint light, yellow and sickly, flickered from within. Emma whispered, "Ten, it was locked." "I know." They reached the doorway. Daniel pushed it slowly, the hinges shrieking like something alive. The flashlight beam cut through the attic, slicing across the rocking chair, the old toys, the exposed beams. The chair was still now, perfectly still. But the smell was worse up here, a rot that clung to the air like wet cloth. Emma covered her nose with her sleeve. Then she noticed the floor. Several of the wide wooden planks near the center of the attic were loose, lifted just slightly, like something beneath had pushed them up. Daniel crouched. "Someone's been under here." Emma's heart pounded. Or something. Daniel wedged the knife into the gap and pried. The board creaked, then popped free with a sound that made Emma flinch. Beneath it was blackness. Not a crawl space, not insulation, a tunnel. A narrow, dirt-lined hole that descended straight down into darkness. A breeze drifted up from it, wet, cold, carrying the faint sounds of whispering. Not one voice, many, layered and soft, like a choir humming under their breath. Emma stepped back. "No, Dan, no." But Daniel was already leaning over, the flashlight aimed down. The beam reached only a few feet before it was swallowed by the dark. "Jesus Christ," he muttered. There's something down there." The whispering stopped. Then clear and high, a child's voice floated up. "Come play." Emma nearly screamed. She grabbed Daniel's arm and yanked him back. "We're not going down there." Daniel's jaw clenched. "If there's a way out, listen to yourself. That's not a way out. That's where it lives." The attic door behind them slammed shut with a deafening crack. Milo, still downstairs, began barking frantically. The flashlight flickered once, twice, and went out. The attic was plunged into pitch black. Emma's breath came in ragged gasp. She fumbled for Daniel in the darkness. "Dan, I'm here," he whispered, but his voice was shaking now too. Then, faintly, from inside the hole, tap, tap, tap. The sound of tiny fingernails dragging against wood. The flashlight sputtered back to life on its own, but it wasn't pointed where Daniel had left it. It now shone directly into the tunnel, onto a hand slowly emerging from the black. It was small, pale, fingernails cracked and blackened, dirt caked into the folds of its skin. The hand grabbed the edge of the floorboard, a jerky, inhuman strength. Emma screamed. Daniel slammed the board back down on it. The impact echoed through the attic. The whispering rose into a chorus of furious, childish voices, shrieking all at once. "Run!" They bolted out of the attic, slamming the door behind them. As they fled down the hallway, something pounded against the floorboards above, shaking the ceiling with each strike. Downstairs, Milo barked like mad. Emma stumbled into the living room, grabbing her phone again. No signal, just static and the occasional faint click, like someone breathing into the line. Daniel dragged the heavy dresser from the wall and jammed it beneath the attic door. Then they sat together, breathless, staring up at the ceiling. The pounding stopped, but the silence that followed was worse. Daniel ran a hand over his face. "We're not staying here another night." Emma nodded, trembling. "But we can't get out." They spent the next hour trying everything: windows, doors, even smashing at the back door with the crowbar Daniel found in the garage. The wood splintered, but no matter how hard they hit it, the door wouldn't give. It was like striking something that wasn't wood anymore. The windows, too, seemed strange. From inside, they could see out: trees, the overgrown yard, the fading light. But when Daniel threw a chair at one, it didn't even crack. Its sound it made was wrong, like striking thick stone. It was around 2:30 a.m. when the noises began again. Tap, 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 beneath the floor. Then scrape, 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 like nails on the underside of the floorboards. Emma whispered, "It's under us." Milo started growling again, staring at the fireplace, his ears flattened, tail low. Daniel followed his gaze and froze. The toy block with the letter E had reappeared, but now, beside it, were two more blocks. Eat. They didn't sleep. At 3:12 a.m., right on cue, the singing began again. This time louder. The lullaby echoed through the house, coming from everywhere at once. Beneath the floor, inside the walls, through the vents. "Hush, little baby, don't say a word." The boards under Emma's feet vibrated softly, like something was crawling below. She backed away towards Daniel. "Mama's gonna buy you a mockingbird." The fireplace crackled even though there was no fire. Dust and ash fell from the chimney as if something was moving inside. And if that mockingbird don't sing? A hand emerged from beneath the living room floor, this time fully. Then another, small, pale, dozens of them, little fingers clutching the floorboards, prying at the seams like insects breaking through an eggshell. Emma screamed. Daniel grabbed her, pulling her towards the stairs, but the floor groaned, bending slightly as something enormous shifted beneath them. They ran upstairs, slamming the bedroom door behind them. Daniel shoved the dresser against it. Emma collapsed against the wall, shaking uncontrollably. Milo whimpered, backing into the corner. Then the whispering started again, not distant anymore, inside the room, under the floor. Emma turned toward the sound. The rug in the center of the bedroom was lifting, rising slowly like a breath. Beneath it, the floorboards bulged upward. Dan! He grabbed her hand. Out the window. They tried. The window looked perfectly ordinary, but when Daniel smashed at it with the lamp, it didn't even break. It didn't even rattle. It was like trying to shatter a wall. Beneath the rug, the boards cracked.